Patchwork quilts. I don't know if there is anything more daunting in sewing than making your first patchwork quilt. I'm here to tell you that it's actually a lot easier than you think, and with a little bit of knowledge under your belt, it can be a lot of fun. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a baby patchwork quilt. This one took me around 10 hours to make over 4 or 5 days. If you have a sewing machine, then you can easily make one yourself. You don't need any quilting experience or special attachments. You will need some fabric, a sewing machine, some wadding, sewing thread, a cutting mat, a ruler, a rotary cutter, a large eyed needle, and some embroidery thread. You'll begin by cutting your fabric into squares, making sure they are the same size. Lay out the squares in your desired pattern. I find this helps me come up with different ideas. Then we're going to sew together the squares in each row. And I like to just iron down that seam. It makes it easier to sew all these rows together into a patchwork square. I'm just adding the last row to complete this square. As you can see, I did not make sure all my squares were the same size. So I'll cut down the rest of my squares to make sure this doesn't happen with the rest of my patchwork blocks. Repeat the patchwork block process 4 times so that you have 5 patchwork squares. Then cut 4 plain squares to the same size. Once again, you're going to sew the squares of each row together. Again, ironing down that seam to keep everything nice and neat. And then just like before, we're going to sew each row together to create another larger square. And you can see how you would just keep repeating this process to make a larger patchwork quilt. I'm going to add a border. Then we're going to create a sandwich of the base fabric, wadding, and your patchwork. Pin in place. This is called basting. You can do this with thread if you prefer, but always start in the centre. Then we're going to get to the fun part, which is the hand quilting. You can always use the machine if you prefer that, or if you're in a hurry. To finish off the blanket, we will need to make some binding. Cut a strip of fabric, iron in half, and then you're going to iron each half in half again. Sew the binding to one side of the patchwork quilt. And then I'm just going to hand stitch down the other side. Most people admire the neatness and dedication that goes into making a patchwork quilt, and simply believe they could never make one. But the truth is, they are not that difficult. Breaking the process down into smaller chapters can help this seem achievable if you do feel like this is a daunting project. Like any skill, the more you practice, the better you will become at it. Have fun and make something. Using the same pattern, but using different colours and hand stitching, you can create a completely different aesthetic. The possibilities are endless. I hope that the takeaway that you get from this video is just how simple it can be to make a patchwork quilt. And I hope it has potentially given you the confidence to give it a go for yourself.